Big Rab Show Podcast is kindly sponsored by G1 Reeds. They are the champion's choice, with many bands around the world playing G1 products, providing everything you'd need to hit the circle or the big stage. So, check out g1reeds.com as they keep the lights on here at the Big Rab Show Podcast.
Hello there, everyone, and welcome to another Big Rab Show podcast. How are yous, folks? Hope you're all well out there in podcast land. Yeah, we're about to get into all things New Zealand Nationals on this week's show, and to say that I'm a little bit excited would be an understatement. Oh, my word, I can't wait for the Nationals this weekend, but we've got a lot to get into on this week's show. Of course, yesterday was St. Patrick's Day. Come on, well, how's the head, first of all, everyone? Are you all recovering okay? Hopefully you weren't too heavy on the black stuff, but I know a good lot of you out there, actually. We're all across the world celebrating at different events. There's been gigs, parades, fundraisers, so much piping action happening yesterday at St. Patrick's Day. It would make your head spin. And we're going to talk about all of it, of course. All the news and updates and stuff will bring all of that. Of course, our amazing topic of the week. But before we even get that distance, let's get through our introductions, though, shall we? If this is your first ever Big Rab Show podcast, you are welcome. We are the show for the bagpiping folk. We reflect everything in the bagpiping world, be it Celtic music, folk music, or indeed our bread and butter, which is competitive piping and drumming. Each and every week we're here talking about what we know and love to be the music of the great Highland bagpipe and its people. And, yep, time to plug the Patreon. Yeah, at the start of every show, we do plug it, but for good reason. Our Patreon faithful over there really do help a great deal by clicking on support and, helping us keep the wheels turning here at the Big Rab Show. And every click of support, it's kind of worth your time because the wealth of extras that is back there, it's kind of crazy. And if anything, we've been getting a lot of commentary from our Patreon people who absolutely loved our documentary series. Episode 1 of which, of course, was released last month. And, throughout the course of the next 12 months, you'll be getting an episode, a fly-on-the-wall documentary. It's been quite an interesting procedure, that one, putting that all together, but that's exclusive to our Patreon faithful. If you do want to check out what's happening in real time behind the scenes, well, yeah, check out our documentary series. That, plus we have episodes of Big Rab Show Plus. We have our Fuse FM Ballymoney radio show that gets uploaded there every week. There's exclusive interviews, performances, tons of stuff over there on Patreon. Have I oversold it? Probably, but for good reason. We're very proud of our Patreon faithful, and if you do want to be a part of that, then of course there's a link in your show notes right now. Click on support and be part of the Patreon faithful. There you go. Plug the Patreon. Time to move on. Every Big Rab show starts the same way, mostly, and this week's no different. We open the door to listener mail. And, that email address hasn't changed from the start of the show. bigrabshow@gmail.com. That address again, bigrabshow@gmail.com. Now, we've got an email here from Sean. He says, "Hey, Big Rab, I'm hoping you can include this information in the news and updates for an upcoming episode." Well, Sean, I'm going to include it here in the listener mail. Hope you don't mind. He says, the London Firefighters Pipe Band out of London, Ontario in Canada are hosting a live music fundraiser called Jigs, Reels and Rock and Roll. I love that. It's being held on May 24th and is running from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. The event will take place in the Eastside Bar and Grill and feature local rock band Burnt Reynolds, Scottish fiddler Amy Barton, and the Sutherland Highland Dancers, and of course the London Firefighters Pipe Band. Excellent stuff. He says the tickets are $20 and can be purchased from the lffpb.ca. There you are. That's the website. Obviously it's short for the London Firefighters Pipe Band. There you are. So proceeds will go to help support the next generation of musicians through the pipe band and help provide instruments, uniforms, mentorship, all sorts of stuff for young musicians to develop their skills and confidence. So join them for an unforgettable afternoon of jigs, reels, and rock and roll, all for a great cause. Excellent stuff. Well, thank you, Sean, for sending that in. So appreciate that. And yes, folks, if you do want to plug anything, you want to help promote, plug, and all that kind of stuff, absolutely reach out to us. I know there's people out there that seem to be nervous about doing that. Like, oh, no, Rab won't want to talk about our car wash. Yes, I absolutely would. So please do email us in anything that you would like to help plug, promote. If you have a fundraiser, a bake sale, maybe you're washing windows to raise money for your band, a concert, whatever it is, let us know, and we'll certainly bring it to a future episode on listener mail, bigrabshow@gmail.com. Yeah. Now, a lot of our email that we did get, again, is still talking about the Glasgow Sky situation and how things have moved on since then. Yeah. Now, the bagpiping world doesn't hang around for very long, and as you can see, the Glasgow Sky situation has certainly progressed, and another band has entered the conversation. Maybe a couple of bands have entered the conversation. Anyway, what am I talking about? You'll hear all about it in the news and updates, but let's say this, our listener mail has been flat out, still talking about the Glasgow Sky situation. Now, last week's podcast, Keeping a Band on the Grass, a good number of you did contact us, talking about a lot of the points that we raised on there, saying that a lot of them were absolutely accurate. Now, a lot of what I was speaking about was from personal experience, and a lot of people really seem to identify with that. A lot of people said, yeah, we've experienced the same thing. Now, a lot of you did email in on the point of anonymity. Absolutely, I will respect that, and I'm not going to give out names in the pod here. But just to let you know, your emails have been received, and yes, it's good to know sometimes that you're not alone, and the challenges of keeping a band on the grass. Yeah, last week's pod was a difficult one to piece together, and by no means is it an exhaustive list. There's bound to be multiple other challenges out there that would threaten a band in the circle, But I've always said this for a long time now, that if you're in the circle playing tunes, that's as good as a win, honestly, because there's so many bands now sitting by the wayside. If you're in there playing, that's a win right there. So anyway, if you do want to go and check out last week's pod, go along, have a listen to it. And there's a lot of great points on there. We spent a good bit of time putting that together. To all of you who did email in and agreed with me and all of that kind of stuff, even those that disagreed, thank you for your commentary. It has been received. A lot of you didn't want it read out in the show, so I won't be doing that. There has been a few people that identified some of the issues that I was talking about from first-hand experience. And a good number of you know exactly when, where, and possibly you might have even been in the room when it happened. Oh, if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Well, yeah, those of you who know me well enough might have experienced the same experiences I experienced. Does that make sense? Anyway, so a lot of people were able to decipher who, what, and where I was talking about. But that's one of the risks when you bring personal experiences to a podcast that is worldwide, and a lot of people are going to go, oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about insert name here. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. But I did keep names out of it deliberately, and it is pretty cryptic enough to those who don't know me personally and might not know the situation I'm talking about. Anyway, last week's pod was vague enough, I think, to protect the anonymity of those involved. It's only for those in the know, I guess. Anyway, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then you maybe haven't listened to last week's pod. That would be my recommendation. Go back, have a listen. Keeping a band on the grass is a very interesting topic and kind of is a strong topic of conversation around the scene at the moment. Yeah. All right. Well, time to move on. That's it for listener mail. You can send us in your own listener mail, by the way, of course. You can email us, bigrabshow@gmail.com. That address again, bigrabshow@gmail.com. Send us in your commentary. We always love to hear from you. All right. Now, as I've said, a good lot of you who did email and did ask to be anonymous, but there is another way to contact us here on the show and to bring your story and bring it out in the open. Yeah. This is Weekly Drone. It's completely anonymous. There's no names. There's no identifying factors. It could be anyone. And there's no fear of recrimination with this. It's one of our favorite kind of segments on the show here. It's an open microphone to the piping scene. So let your thoughts and feelings be heard, folks. Go along to our website, thebigrabshow.com. That big button at the top of the page says Weekly Drone. Click on that and let us know your thoughts and feelings, warts and all, and we'll bring them to a future show. So, JD, I have no doubt, mate, that we're bound to have at least a couple of weekly drones after last week's show. In fact, I can see them here in front of me. All right, weekly drone number 1, click play. All right, JD, let's have it.
It's the weekly drone.
Numbers cap needs time. Without wanting to get too far into the debate on a numbers cap, I think one thing everyone should keep in mind is that if it is introduced, it needs to be given time to take effect. I don't see a wave of pipers and drummers making their way from grade 1 bands down to grade 2 or 3. No doubt we'll see some do it, but we'll probably also see a lot of players just walk away or accept being the reserve players for their grade 1 band. The major benefit coming from a numbers cap would be stopping the draining of players from the lower grades into grade 1 bands, and from lower grade 1 bands into the top bands. It will be 4 to 5 years at least before that will be really noticeable. If the numbers cap is introduced, the RSPBA needs to be very clear on what exactly they expect it to achieve and what success would look like. But most importantly, they need to emphasize that it will be here for at least 5 years before there is a review. It would be a waste of everyone's time to introduce it for 1 season and then scrap it when it doesn't magically solve all of our problems in 6 months.
We're just letting the music play when I'm thinking about that one. Yeah, the whole issue to do with the number cap, we were expecting a bit of a conclusion at this past weekend's AGM. Yeah, that was one of the big things I didn't mention in the introduction. But yeah, this past weekend was the RSPBA annual general meeting. And there's a lot of discussion at that. And a lot of it didn't reach the conclusion that we were expecting. And the number cap was definitely one of those. Yeah. The thoughts and opinions on maximum numbers of pipe bands, right? And we're not talking about minimum numbers because they are sort of set in stone and they are what they are. Maximum numbers is what we're looking at here. There was plenty of discussion at the AGM is what I heard about this. Now, obviously, I wasn't at the AGM. I've only really been speaking to the odd rep here and there that was actually there and that, you know, kind of second or third hand information. There's also a report published on pipesdrums.com on the outcome of the annual general meeting and how it went. You can go and have a read at that, including all the financials and stuff. And we'll get into all of that, of course, in the news and updates. We're talking about the number cap here and where it landed. Well, it didn't land is the thing. They're still up for discussion. Now, the speculation on pipesdrums.com is that this will likely go to the music board for further consideration. Now, the music board, in my opinion, would absolutely be the right people for this to go to. They're the ones that are looking at the grading and the standards of bands and all of that. They're a vitally important part of the HQ as a whole, you know? They're the folks that are in there up to the elbows and are very aware as to what's happening within the membership musically. And measuring of capability is one of those things. And, yeah, numbers do come into that. Will the introduction of a number cap help? Don't know. That's arguable. And that's why I'm thinking that this has not reached a conclusion yet. It's still under discussion. And if anything, what I kind of take from this is largely a positive, is that they're not wanting to jump in with both feet here. You know, not like crashing and banging like a bull in the china shop and say, right, let's do this thing. Here we go. That's the maximum number and that's it. You can all deal with it. No, they're looking at every possible outcome of this. Every positive, every negative. They're being careful here before they introduce a rule that could have a detrimental effect on a lot of bands. Now, you might think, well, who will that affect? Well, obviously a lot of the big guns that you see with like 30 plus pipers and 50 drummers or something. I'm exaggerating. But there is huge bands out there that this could have repercussions for. There could be a lot of players standing on the wings, unable to compete due to the number cap rule. So does the RSPBA want that on their conscience? That's an interesting one, and I'm glad that they're still discussing it. As for our Weekly Drones comments, they're talking about how they should introduce something, but then also allow it time to bed in, and that this change will not answer everyone's prayers in a month or two. I completely agree. If you do introduce a rule change, it's not something that you should just introduce for 4 weeks and then, we don't like it, we're changing it. No, it has to be given opportunity to fully bed in and everyone to make adjustments then around the rule change. Now, if anything, this could, and yeah, I've been watching a lot of Formula One recently, and the season started there a couple of weeks ago, and they're all talking about the rule changes, about how every car is different, you know? But when I was thinking about rule changes, okay, RSPBA are also thinking about rule changes, you know, number cap, etc. And Formula One teams had an entire year to consider the new rules before the new season rolled in. So each team had 12 months to develop a new car before it hit the track. So they knew that it was the maximum best car they could produce under the rules that they were governed by. Will pipe bands be given such, you know, a window of time to say, right, in 12 months' time, we're going to cap the numbers at X amount of pipers, X amount of drummers, and this is all coming in 12 months' time. Will they be given that same leeway? Because, yeah, I agree with our weekly droner. Can't introduce a rule and let it sit for 4 weeks and go, don't like that. Yeah, we're going to change it. Don't like it, change it. Yeah, it just doesn't happen that way. So, interesting thoughts, weekly droner. That is still an interesting topic for discussion. And yeah, we will talk more about that in this week's news and updates, no doubt. But yeah, up for discussion, that one still interesting. All right, JD, I believe we have another one on the shelf, mate. Let us have it. Number 2 for the week.
The weekly drone.
Gradings. Rab, with the big announcement about bands going up or down, there seems to be other bands that move grades without any real announcement. For example, I don't recall seeing any announcement that a certain band were put up to grade 2 recently. Surely for full transparency, and bands moving grades should be announced.
Weekly droner, again, I'm letting the music trail out there as I'm thinking. I'm trying to place which band you're talking about. Now, we did mention last week on the show, we were talking about the Mackenzie Caledonia pipe band being graded in grade 2. But that's because their grade 2 band never actually went anywhere. You know, they just were remained on hiatus. So we did get a number of questions about that, saying, hold on, the Mac Cals are in grade 2? Yes, they are. Absolutely. They have a grade 2 band sitting there. And now they've been able to hit the field. They've got enough players. So that was that situation. As for the other band I think you might be referring to, are we talking about Johnstone? That's another band that has obviously had their grade 3A band sitting there and their grade 1 band that have had to pull away from competition. We've spoke all about Johnstone pulling the plug there in grade 1. Well, from my understanding now, this could absolutely be stuff the Rab got wrong. It could, 100%. So, yeah, please take this with a pinch of salt. But my understanding is that a good number of the membership from the Johnstone grade 1 band, they stepped down and they all joined the grade 3A band. Now, as a result, the de facto grade of that band is grade 2. Yeah, they have been given, as I say, a de facto upgrade from 3A to grade 2. Because a lot of those grade 1 guys all stepped back from the grade 1 circle, joined the 3A band. So, yeah, they've been sort of upgraded to grade 2. Now, you're quite right in saying so. There hasn't been an official announcement yet from what I could see. Now, again, that could be stuff the Rab got wrong. Absolutely, it could be. Maybe I just haven't seen it. But you know, that weekly droner appears to be in the same boat. I haven't seen an official announcement anywhere talking about the upgrade of Johnstone 3A. So, is that stuff that Rab got wrong? Please do let me know if it is the case. Perhaps I've just missed that. But yeah, I think that is the story there, is what happened at Johnstone. A lot of the grade 1 guys stood back from the circle when the band folded in grade 1, and then instead of just sitting on the wayside and doing nothing, they all joined the 3A band, and yeah, as a result then, they've been given a de facto upgrade to grade 2. So I'm sure, we are waiting on further announcements. It's normally around this time of year, March, April time, that we do see further announcements from the music board, whenever they listen to appeals and things like that. So that does all get looked at. Obviously now with the shake-up with Johnstone and all the rest, we'll be seeing announcements coming soon to say that they've been upgraded, quite possibly. So we're waiting on that. So it's a developing situation, I guess. Now we have the situation with Glasgow Sky pulling the plug. We're going to see some of their members scattered to the wind and perhaps popping up in other bands as well. And will that affect their grading? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see on that front. So yeah, we are still waiting on more news from the music board. So perhaps your announcement that you're searching for, Weekly Droner, is down the road. It's yet to come. Yeah. So again, if that is stuff that Rab got wrong, and I did miss the announcement somewhere, then that's on me. I apologize. That's absolutely... Yeah, I'm quite frequently wrong, So please don't take it personally or come at me and go, oh, Rob, you're nothing but a plonker. So you missed it. Yeah, because that's quite possible. But yes, let me know. bigrabshow@gmail.com. Tell me how wrong I am, if I am. There you are. Right, folks, that's it for listener mail, and that's it for Weekly Drone, and that's our show started good and proper. But as you can imagine, we've got a lot of ground to cover in this week's news and updates. We're right in the thick of concert season. Of course, yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, and we've got a lot of great competition and stuff ahead of us as well over the next few weeks. A lot to get into. So I think it's time I take myself a wee break, and I'll be right back after this. Ever wish you had a piping teacher on call 24/7? Well, now you do. Introducing the Interactive Player, a game-changing new practice tool at Dojo University. Play along with world champion pipers while the notes on your sheet music light up in time. Loop tricky phrases, slow down tough sections, zoom in to focus, and build speed automatically. It's like having a teacher right in your practice room, showing you how to master every tune at your own pace. So, sign up for a free trial today at pipersdojo.com and start learning smarter with Dojo U's Interactive Player.
Ready to take your playing to the next level? Say hello to the ES Session Chanter, the ultimate practice chanter designed for versatility and durability. Crafted from stainless steel and aluminium, the chanter comes equipped for both an A stem and a B flat stem, giving you the freedom to play along with any instrument, anytime, anywhere. Whether at a band practice or a trad session, the ES Session Chanter keeps pace with your creativity. Included with the chanter is the custom carbon carry case, the perfect addition to this compact and tactile instrument. To get yours, head to essessionchanter.co.uk.
Okay, time to get into all the news and updates. Now, yeah, we're going to have to lead out with the RSPBA annual general meeting. Okay, now I understand for a lot of people that would switch off at this point and go, ugh, Rob, that's so boring. Why do you want to bother with that nonsense? Well, there was a lot discussed at this past weekend's AGM, and a lot of it reached conclusion, and as you heard earlier, a lot of it didn't. And that's kind of the talking point here. Yeah. Now, some of the things that were mentioned in the pipesdrums.com article about this is exactly what we want to get into. So if you do want to read the full details of everything, that's my advice. Go along to pipesdrums.com. They seem to have some insider knowledge or at least some sources, and they were able to, produce an article based on what happened in the room at the AGM. Very cool. So let's look through it, shall we? Well, one of the things that we were actively looking forward to was the possible introduction of bass sections awards for our major championships. Now, this was put forward for discussion and for voting and everything, because it's something that we do here in Northern Ireland. We do award best bass section. So we award those prizes here. There was a suggestion that perhaps this could be something that could be carried across into major championships. Now, that would add a whole new dynamic to things, you know? It would see bass sections actively competing for the prize, and it would be very interesting to see how that would all pan out. So, yeah, you guessed it, it was withdrawn. So, it's not likely to happen anytime soon, but the idea is there. And, yeah, it almost made it across the line for discussion. So, an interesting one. Now, possibly, I know we're not going to talk about the number cap thing. We talked all about that earlier. Yeah, that has been put out for discussion and will be passed to the music board for them for further consideration. Now, what happens next is that the music board will go and they'll talk about the number cap, and then they'll bring it back, hopefully, with a bit of an outcome to say, hey, right, we have thrashed it out. This is what we believe to be our recommendation. And then that's put forward to the board for a bit of a vote then. So it's not the end of the story. I dare say the conversation around number caps is not over, but it's with the music board for now. And as to how long that will take, your guess is as good as mine. But that's the number cap discussion. The one I wanted to get into is the transfer window. Now, this seems to have confused a lot of people. Yeah. Now, this was actually voted through, and it was approved. The motion was carried, as they say in the business. This was an idea of an actual bona fide period of time in the calendar where players can jump between bands. Now, we've always talked about it here on the show, what we affectionately call the transfer season. Well, now it's going to be noted in black and white. It's going to be on paper when it is appropriate for you to jump bands. But this is the differentiation where I think everyone is getting confused, okay? This is only for lead tippers and pipe majors. Yeah, I think this is the one that is tripping everybody up. People seem to think that this transfer window is for every player, not just leadership. But no, as far as my understanding is concerned, this is just for leadership. All right. Now, yeah, we've spoke many times on the show here where a leadership in a pipe band, a leader of some kind, be it a lead tipper, a pipe major, pipe sergeant, whatever, they suddenly decide to jump and go and join another pipe band. And then as a result, that leaves a leadership role, which is a vital role in a pipe band, leaves it empty. And yeah, we spoke last week, we spoke about succession and how bands often do fail to plan for succession if that happens. So, yeah, it is now in black and white that there is a proper transfer season, a window of time for when a pipe major and a lead tipper can leave a band and go and join another. Yeah. So I hope that kind of dispels all of the misunderstanding. There's a lot of it out there. A lot of people saying, what if I want to jump bands between May and July? Can I do that? Well, are you a pipe major? No? Well, then you're fine. On you go. Yeah, this only applies for pipe majors and lead drummers. There you are. All right. And there was another interesting motion that was put forward. We haven't really spoke much about this on the show, but it's an interesting idea. There was an idea tabled about making competition score sheets public. Yeah. And I'm not entirely sure the reasoning behind all of this as to how the score sheets are totted up, and how, points are awarded and stuff. Very curious. I would love to know the thinking behind this idea. And if the score sheets were indeed to be made public, what exactly we would gain from that. Transparency, I guess. The motion was defeated, however. That was not voted through. And, well, what this means at the minute is that, the traditional method remains in place, So everything will remain as is as regards to your score sheets. You'll get them at the end of the competition and you'll wait, hopefully not too long, until they're published online to the website. Now, speaking of the website, yeah, there was quite a lot of criticism for the RSPBA website. Now, in my opinion, I don't know if it's well-founded. I do think that the RSPBA site looks great. I think it's easy to navigate, in my opinion. But there's those out there that, have some criticisms about the site, saying some information is not available, it's missing, or, that they find it difficult to navigate. Things like the champion lists and stuff from previous decades aren't there, things like that. So, the website itself is only brand new. It has only just launched in this past few months. And, as any new venture, I guess, it does take a bit of time to bed in. And improvements are continually being made to the site. I've just noticed, actually, in the point of me recording this, I've logged in to the website today. And, it's been revamped. There's changes afoot already. So, clearly, some people on the board of directors not fans of the website and saying, hi, there's missing data here, there's missing forms, there's missing things, and we can't find it, and we don't like it. We don't like change. We don't like it. Yeah. So the RSPBA site is under a bit of criticism at the moment, but I think from a general user standpoint, from my opinion, I like it. But I would love to know your opinions on that. But that was quite a bit of the heavy discussion around the RSPBA website, its use, and all the criticism that was flung at the website. As I've said, I'm going to try and defend it in some way because I do believe it is a work in progress. I do believe you always have to start somewhere. Every website's not exactly going to hit the ground running. You're constantly tweaking at those things. So it's a work in progress. So, that's up for discussion. So, as the website continues to develop, following that criticism, I guess we're just going to follow that through their website and see how it changes in the coming months. There you are. Also discussed at the AGM was the financials. Yes. Now, for those of you who like to crunch some numbers and follow the money, well, it was quite an interesting year for the RSPBA. Yeah. As you can imagine, having one fewer major championship in the calendar definitely left quite a big gap in the finances. And at the moment, we have seen some increases in major championships and decreases in others. But overall, I think, the story that's on the table is that £203,000 worth of debt must be repaid in 2026. Oh, baby. You talk about a headline right there. Yeah, so the organization themselves actually have quite a bit of funds in the coffers, all right, as they say. They've almost got back that £1 million balance. It's currently sitting at around 820,000, something like that. But with this incoming season ahead of them, obviously there'll be costs that run through, so they do need to keep a certain amount in the coffers. But I think that's the headline. Yeah. So that was in the Pipes Drums article. I haven't actually delved through the specific financials myself. I have looked at them briefly, but that has been the headline figure here, that approximately 203 grand of debt has to be repaid this year. Now, I'm not sure what happens if it isn't repaid. Don't know, but I have to say, very glad to see. We have a full complement of 5 majors, and I think given what was talked about at the AGM, they're quite confident that they're going to pay that back. So it's not a story. It is a story because that's a huge number, but it's not a story because it's well within the means of them being able to pay that, I believe. All right. Now, could this be stuff that Rab got wrong?
Stuff that Rab got wrong.
Oh, here we are in March, and if I am wrong, you can absolutely send me an email in September when the season ends and say, hi, Rab, do you remember when you said that we'll pay off that debt and we're grand? I think the one thing I want to worry about here is that 200,000 in debt. I'm wondering who's going to get hit for that. Yeah. Now, is it going to go to sponsors, event organizers, things like that, or charitable donations to the branch? I don't know. But costs are only ever going up. And, band dues. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, move away from the finance talk, Rab. Quite boring, that is. But there you go. That's kind of some of the big heavy hitters from the AGM. There was loads of other stuff talked about, of course, the college and everything, and ongoing relationships and stuff. That was a very interesting meeting. So Yeah, for you want to go and check out that article, pipedrums.com. They have published the details of it there. We are still waiting on some more outfall from the AGM. There's been very little, actually, published online about it, but that's nothing new. So we are just waiting to see when the minutes will get published, if will ever be published. And yeah, we can read through that at our leisure. And for those of you who did attend, there's a good number you actually did attend the AGM following our advice. And a lot of you did messages to say that was worthwhile. So thank you. So there you go. All right, moving on. I need to talk about a huge story that dropped on Friday this past week. You know rightly what I'm going to be talking about, don't you? Come on. Have you been living under a stone? The announcement for the Pre-Worlds concert dropped on Friday. Yes, we finally have it. Yeah, the rumours can now stop. The 78th Fraser Highlanders Pipe Band will be hitting the Glasgow Royal Concert Hall stage as part of the Pre-Worlds concert hosted by the Glasgow Sky Association. The 70th Fraser Highlanders, and their show is entitled True North Strong. There you go. Give them a proper yay. Yeah, so tickets for this are available now. Go and grab them. Now, as you guys know, the Pre-Worlds concert absolutely sells out every year, and I am guaranteeing that this one will do exactly the same. It's kind of one of the big highlights of Worlds Week. You know, I absolutely love going to these shows. Each one of them is different in their own way, and I'm very excited to see what the 70th are going to bring to the stage. Now, I have it on good authority. It's been over 20-odd years. Now, I don't know. Is it 23? I've seen that published in a few articles somewhere, but that could be stuff that Rab got wrong. But I think it's 20-plus years, definitely, that the 70th Fraser Highlanders took to the stage in their live in Glasgow concert. Now, that was back around the early 90s, and I do actually remember buying that album. That was quite a while ago. So to see them back on stage again, that's so exciting, man. After quite a bit of time has passed. Yeah, I can't wait to see what Michael Gray and the folks there at the 70th bring to the stage. Now, of course, there's statements aplenty online, loads of ones out of the band and that, and Glasgow Sky are all talking about this show. And I wanted to hear from Michael Gray. So his statement that he had on the website, bagpipe.news. He says, making music for performance outside of the competition is a huge part of what the 78th is about. The band thrives on it, and building a big show like and kind needed for the pre-world stage is a challenge, but just fires the bunch of us up in a big way. Man, I can't wait. Now, we did mention last week, I think it was, they were holding an open practice. So if anyone's going to go to that open practice, you might actually get a little sneaky peek as to what they're up to. Oh, that's all I'm going to say. But this is exciting for a multitude of reasons. We spoke all about it, of course, on Fuse FM last night. We played tons of music from their Live in Scotland concert back in the early 90s. That was fun to revisit. But yeah, my advice to you now is to go and grab tickets. I know this is March and we're pipe band people. We normally like to leave it to the very last moment. But my advice, please don't leave it to that last moment. Don't leave it to the last second. Run out, grab your tickets for this now. This is going to be a huge event. Now, that you normally get a bit of an idea what the band's going to bring to the stage by the title of the show, True North Strong. Now, in the advertising and everything, you get there's a picture of the Rocky Mountains and everything. There's a bear in there, and there's a big maple leaf and everything. It's very cool. Come on. And it's very Canadian as well. So I'm very excited to see what musical voice the 70th are going to bring to that stage. Now, when you consider the World Championships run over the last few years, yeah, they've been bringing some really interesting music to that circle. Now, granted, they haven't been chipping into that top 6 spot, as a lot of our pre-Worlds concerts do normally come from that top 6 bracket. This provides an opportunity for a band to return to the stage and absolutely light it on fire. Come on, this band has had some iconic shows over the years. Come on, the Flame of Wrath, Live in Scotland, like we just mentioned. Do I even need to mention Live in Ireland 87? Come on, there's so many iconic concerts from the 70th Fraser Highlanders, and I am very hopeful that they do play some of their greatest hits at this, you know? So, right, That's my advice. That's the story covered. Go and grab tickets for this. That's my advice. And I will be harping on at you for the next few weeks, months, until you do secure your ticket. Make sure you're in the building for this. I am absolutely positive this will be a moment in time that you will not want to forget in the bagpiping world. An opportunity for some brave musicality, and I'm so excited for this. The 70th Fraser Highlanders can absolutely light it up, and I can't wait to see Michael Gray, Drew Duther, and everyone there at the 70th absolutely rip it up in Glasgow. It's going to be such an exciting night. There you are. So hope you can join me. Grab your tickets. Avoid disappointment. This is going to be a good one. True North strong. Oh, can't come quick enough. Okay, I do want to talk about an upcoming opportunity with Strathmore Schools. Yes, their pipe band committee actually put it out on socials and on bagpipe.news as well, that they're looking for an experienced tenor and bass drum instructor. Yeah. Now, this is all the way through from primary school age and older. So, their piping program there is really starting to develop. Now, they are looking for someone with a wealth of experience. There's a full, essential criteria kind of thing that you need to tick all the boxes. And the start date has been marked here as soon as possible. Or, well, the required actual start date is the 20th of April. But if you can get there before then, all the better. Full details on how you can apply and everything, you can contact everyone there at the Strathmore Schools Pipe Band. The piping program over there. Or you can look at it's been plastered all across socials, so this opportunity is very well known. So, closing dates for this is the 22nd of March, and that start date is fast approaching. So, if you are interested, you can go and check out the article on bagpipe.news for Strathmore Schools. They have links and everything there for your applications. And, you can contact anyone there at the Strathmore Schools Pipe Band Committee or the program, and they can certainly send you an application. There you are. Looking for an experienced tenor drum or bass drum instructor. Excellent. Okay. Details of the Duncan Johnson Memorial Competition has been published, and these are now available. You can go and have a look at them all at the National Piping Centre website. It's being held on the 21st of March, and this time's a bit different. It's being held across two different venues. Yeah, Ontario Street and McFader Street in Glasgow. Different grades are being held in different locations, and I think this is down to the sheer volume of people competing at this. Yeah, it's quite a huge event. So for all of the detail, of course, again, go to the National Piping Centre website. All of it is up there. All of your grades, your competitors as to where it's happening, and your times, etc. The Duncan Johnson Memorial Competition taking place on the 21st of March. Exciting. Well, speaking of the National Piping Centre, give them another shout out on the show here. Well, their holiday club is, taking sign up right now. So if you do want to be a part of the National Piping Centre's holiday club, well, now's your opportunity. They have a spring holiday club, which runs from the 7th to the 10th of April. And then they also have a summer one, and they're running two different sessions, both in the month of July. So if you do want to go and check out all that detail, well, again, National Piping Centre website. It's open for players aged 11 to 17, and sign-ups are open now. So if you are curious and you do fancy signing up for that program, well, you've got wealth of choice there, haven't you? There's 3 of them available. 1 in the spring, 2 in the summer. So go and get signed up now. Go to the National Piping Centre website and drop in your application. And best of luck. Okay, I know we've already mentioned them at the very beginning of the news and updates, but I do want to talk a little bit more about the RSPBA. Well, on their social media, they put it out about the closing date for entries. Okay? Now, I find myself doing a bit of a public service announcement every time this rolls round, because people always complain to me, "Oh, Rab, you didn't tell us the dates." Well, here it is. The closing dates for your major championships have been officially announced, and they're fast approaching, people. Yeah, you might think that this is ages away yet, but trust me, this could sneak up on you. So, our closing date for entries for the British Championships, the first major in the calendar, is the 15th of April. Make sure you get your band registered if you want to compete for that one, 15th of April. The UK Championships, the closing date is the 29th of April. Yeah, so you've got 2 majors that needs to be completed before the end of the month to make sure that your band's going to be stepping out in the circle. So that's your British and your UK Championships. Yeah. The Scottish Championships, closing dates for it is the 13th of May. So get your entry form in for that one. And the Euros, the European Championships, is on the 10th of June. That's your absolute closing day. And then, of course, for the big in, the World Championships, you have to make sure your paperwork is submitted and in with headquarters no later than the 1st of July. All right? I'm telling you now, get your paperwork in. Do not be disappointed. It seems to happen every year. There's so many bands out there that just neglect to get their paperwork done. Now, not only will your closing dates and all of that need to be marked in your card and get your band registrations away, but also please make sure that your band rosters are fully up to date. You know, if throughout this transfer season players have indeed transferred, well, make sure that you've registered your new players and you have transferred your old players away to wherever they're going. So, yeah, make sure all of your roster is up to date. Now, there was talk about this last season that, you know, the Pipe Major would have to carry a printed out roster sheet and that these would be checked by stewards. Now, yes, absolutely. I seen this firsthand where a Pipe Major would be approached by a steward and the Pipe Major would normally go, oh, hold on, we have another 10 minutes to tune yet. We can't be ready. We're not ready yet. And the steward would normally go, no, I'm not chasing you to the circle yet. I want to check your paperwork. Where's my dun-dun-dun? Yeah, and I have seen it twice. I've seen it twice, yeah, where a Pipe Major flew into a state of panic going, oh my God, have I got that with me? Normally at that point, the band secretary would go, do not fear, Pipe Major, I am here. And they would come running, and here you go, there's the roster sheet. I had it in my sparring the whole time. But Pipe Majors should essentially have it in their pocket, okay? So, yeah, please make sure your band rosters are fully up to date ahead of time. Whenever you're hitting the circle, whenever you're in the final tuning area, that's just the wrong moment to have to pull the plug on anything. Please don't fall foul of the rules like this. Paperwork is boring. I get it. It's not fun and can be really dull, but it's so vitally important because that could be the meaning of you hitting the circle and winning and not being allowed in that circle at all. Yeah. So you've been warned. Get your paperwork ready. The closing dates are published. You can see them on the RSPBA website and on their socials. Get your paperwork sorted, people. All right, there you are. Right, I'm also going to mention more deadlines, more dates for your diary, I guess. But trophy returns. Those of you who were lucky enough to win prizes and silverware last season, well, the dates have been published for when you need to return your trophy. Yeah. So the UK Championships is the 17th of April. The Euros is the 1st of May. The Scottish, 29th of May. And the World's the 19th of June. You need to have Spiky returned by then. There you go. So now I know last year, I think the year before that, we even talked about if your trophy was late back and actually missed the deadline, well, you could actually run into all sorts of fines and all sorts of crazy stuff. So I don't know if that's the case this season. It hasn't been mentioned about possible fines for any late returns, but please don't fall foul of it. The dates have been published well in advance. And yeah, the UK Championships, if you did pick up silverware at that, please be mindful that's the first deadline we have, and that's the 17th of April. Get your trophy back to headquarters. There you are. All right. Okay. I can't go this show without talking about St. Patrick's Day. You know, the sheer amount of piping and drumming that took place was just nuts. And we found it incredibly difficult keeping up with all of it. So thank you to everyone that sent us in selfies, video clips, just even like, it was everywhere. There was TikToks, there was Instagram Reels, there was so much piping and drumming all across St. Patrick's Day, in clubs and bars and street corners and parades, in festivals even. There was entire festivals and all of that. Oh, man, come on. There was so much piping and drumming. I have to say full credit to everyone who was out there celebrating St. Patrick's Day and thumping out some big tunes. I've seen some thoroughly entertaining videos of people playing on bar tops, some people dressed in all sorts of fancy dress garb and all that. It was a lot of fun to enjoy. Yeah. I have to particularly mention good mates of the show, actually, Bagged Brig, who travelled all the way across to New York to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And there's videos of them performing all across New York City. But also, of course, possibly one of the standout moments for Bag at Brig is them on the march in the New York City St. Patrick's Day parade. Now, they were towards the end of the parade. I actually watched the live stream video of the whole thing, and I was like, come on, where are they? Where are they? And here they are at the very end of the parade. And, man, did they not disappoint? Holy smokes, they were amazing. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, go and check out some of the stuff that Bag at Brig have been up to over there in New York. Absolutely stellar. Absolutely stellar. So there you go. Full credit to everyone there that was out celebrating St. Patrick's Day. Just full shout out to all of you. There's too many of you to mention on the show. All right, I'm going to give a little plug this week to the Big Rab Show YouTube channel. For those of you that are subscribed over there, I'm sure you've seen a little video that we published through the week there. Well, just yesterday, actually, at the point of me recording this. Police Scotland Fife had their concert last year called Dancing on the Beat, and it was previously released to our followers over there on Patreon, where they got early access and got to see some of the behind-the-scenes stuff from the band. Well, it's now been made public, so you folks can go and watch it now. It's up there on our YouTube channel and find out what the Mighty Fife did behind the scenes at that huge concert in Aberdeen. Very entertaining video. So a huge shout out to Stuart for filming that for us, and shout out to our Patreon faithful who did get early access to that. But yeah, it's now available to all of you. Go and check it out on our YouTube channel. Okay, I'm going to mention a news story that dropped yesterday, and this was unexpected to say the least. Right. Initially, I seen a news story from Livingston Caledonia Pipe Band announcing that their lead tipper had stepped down with immediate effect and that they were recruiting and looking for a new lead drummer. Well, I think within the space of 24 hours, if not less, they had a story published on their socials to say, we're delighted to announce that Les Galbraith has officially joined the pipe band and is their new lead drummer. Yeah, that was quick. That was so quick. Now, if anything, that really surprised us on the Rab Show team, because the first person that came into our head, well, do you know who's not leading a corps at the minute after stepping down from the mighty Glasgow Sky? Well, we know that Les Galbraith is looking for somewhere to play, and then, boom, it's as if the stars aligned, you know? Livingston needed a lead tipper. Les was there. There you go. Match made in heaven. So yeah, congratulations to Les Galbraith, who will now be leading out the Livingston Caledonia Pipe Band in Grade 3. Really looking forward to seeing what they're going to bring there. Now, obviously, this is March, and the season starts in a few months, so that's going to be quite tight there to try and get things moving for the drum corps there at Livingston. So best of luck to Les and to everyone there at Livingston Caledonia. Really excited to see what you're going to bring to the circle there musically. But yeah, Les didn't stay bored for too long, you know? Stepping down from the mighty Sky, and then maybe had a week or two off, I think. And then, hey, he's now playing with Livingston. So there you go. Exciting news. But one of which definitely surprised us. A bold is over. There you go. Moving on. Okay, well, for those of you who may not be completely switched on to, well, the Breton music scene and the bagged competitions. Well, this past weekend, there was quite a huge one that took place. Now, my French is terrible, and I'm not even going to attempt it. So, was it the Championnat des Bagadous? I don't know. That's that stuff that Rab got wrong. Yeah, probably is. My French is terrible. So, apologies for mispronouncing that. But yes, this past weekend, tons of bagged action from this contest over the weekend. And wow. There was some performances at this that absolutely blew my socks off. Now, if anything, I don't know what you call the bagpipe, but there was a couple of bands that played this. Now, the piper is a solo piper that played this in front of the entire bagged band, and the set of drones that this pipes had, they were like a mile long. They're like 6 or 7 foot tall. Crazy big drones on these pipes. Anyway, so that's one of the standout things that I noticed from it. But the performances at this were just amazing. And I have to say, full congratulations to Ron Sedmore, Bagad Ronsedmore, of course, who believe they were the overall champions on the day. So for full details and all the prize listings and everything, that is available online. But that's not what I want to bring to the show this week. I want to bring along a story. Well, turns out one of us from the Big Rab Show team was actually there and competing at it. I know, it came as a huge surprise to us. We're like, what? What's going on? So yeah, Annabelle Charlton, herself here and the Big Rab Show team, kept it very quiet that she was heading over to France to compete in a Bagad competition. And, well, come on. As soon as she landed back home to Scotland, I said, Annabelle, you need to tell us about your experience out there and what you experienced at this competition. So, at this point, I'm going to hand the show over to Annabelle, and she's going to tell you everything that happened at this competition.
Recently, for 11 days, I had the opportunity to travel to Brittany to play with Bagad de Lorient at the Grade 1 competition for the Championnat National des Bagadous, which was held in Saint-Brieuc on Saturday the 14th of March. For those who are unfamiliar with Bagads, a Bagad is a musical group which is a bit like a pipe band, but with a lot more instruments, which are from Brittany and France. There are bagpipes, bombards, snare drums, a percussion section, as well as sometimes other instruments. Breton singers and dancers also often make appearances alongside Bagads. They play Breton music, which is often arranged into suites. The competition was the first stage of two, with the second being held later this year during the Festival Entre Celtique de Lorient in August. During the winter competition, which is usually held in February, each grade is given a region of Brittany known as a terroir, which they have to incorporate into their suite. A terroir is a region of Brittany which includes its own traditions and musical style. This year, the terroir for Grade 1 was Lyon, which is situated in the northwest of Brittany. So how did I get involved? Well, I just asked. I knew someone going from Pitlochry, and as it was always a dream of mine to play with a Bagad, I just sent a message. They had got back to me after asking one of the leaders of the pipers in the Bagad, and the answer was yes, so I was quickly sent the sheet music. Bear in mind this was all in January, so less than 8 weeks to the competition. I travelled out on the 6th of March and dived straight into a busy weekend of practices. The Friday practice lasting from 9 till 11:30pm. Saturday's practice was 10am till 6pm, followed by a public rehearsal until 7pm, and Sunday's practice was similar, 10am till 5pm, followed by another public rehearsal until 6pm. During the rest of the week, I got to explore Lorient and its surrounding areas, spending a lot of time at the tavern, which I think is probably a bit like Lorient's version of the Park Bar. A lot of people from the Bagad tend to meet up there after practices. The second weekend came around fast, and we had a practice on Friday at 9pm, and we were finished for just before midnight. On Saturday, the day of the competition, we had an early practice from 9 till 11am, and then took a coach up to Saint-Brieuc on the top coast of Brittany. We played at the competition at 4:30pm, and it was an amazing experience. I thought it was a lot less nerve-wracking than playing at the Worlds in Grade 1, mainly because of how relaxed everything was when tuning up and the overall atmosphere. The results came out later than expected, but we were very happy to have been placed 6th overall, with 4th in piping and 2nd in terroir. From what I'm aware of, we think it's one of the best placings at the winter competition we have ever had. The night finished off with a fest noz, a Breton gathering including group dancing and live music. It was easily the best piping trip I've ever been on yet. I loved every minute of it so much that I didn't want to leave at all. Also, it was a pretty cool way to practice my French. I can't thank everyone enough, and I look forward to returning soon. À toute l'équipe à Bagad de Lorient, merci beaucoup pour tout. C'était une opportunité incroyable. J'ai vraiment hâte de revenir cet été. À bientôt en août. Allez Lorient!
Do you know what? That was the band that Annabelle was playing in. And the entire performance, I'm distracted here because I'm listening to it. Professional radio guy. But yeah, that entire performance along with all of the competition is all available on YouTube. You can go and watch the entire thing. It was all professionally shot, mic cut up and everything. Yeah, I'm distracted here. I'm sitting here listening to it in my other ear. Switch it off. Yeah. So good. A lot of these performances, absolutely. Wow. And that's one of them, to be fair. I know I can be biased because Annabelle was playing in that band there. But the Bagad, Soren, and Orion. I don't know. Is my French terrible? It absolutely is, yes. But yeah, I am very keen to learn more about this scene. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of Bagad music. We feature a lot of it on our show in recent years. But yeah, this was the first one of a series of competitions rolling up to the Lorient Festival. And yeah, full congratulations to Annabelle. And to everyone there at the Bagad Sorion de Orion. What? My French is awful. Not as good as Annabelle's, clearly. But yes, very keen to follow the rest of this season as it progresses there in the Bagad scene. So if any of you are out there listening to the show right now and you are actively competing in that scene, please do get in contact with us and yeah, try and correct my French wherever it is. Although Annabelle might be keeping me right now. Yeah, by the sounds of things, she had a heck of a time and will hopefully be returning for more tunes there. There you go. And a huge thank you to Annabelle for sending us that quick report there. That's not easy to do. And yeah, a huge thank you for doing that. And yeah, I'm very jealous. Looking at some of the music that these bands get to play, man, it's so much fun. It's so creative. The layers that they can use, you know, between the pipes, the bombards, the percussion, the different tones of the bass drums there that you just heard. Ah, so cool. So cool. Anyway, move on. That all happened this past weekend. And as I've said, the full listings of who won what and where has all been published online. So I'm not going to go through it and read a full hashtag list. It's all available online. You can go and check it out at your leisure. There you are. So from that, where do we go next? Well, let's briefly talk about the Festival Interceltique de Lorient. Yeah, they've announced the full lineup of the whole festival. And again, it's kind of ridiculous how good this festival is. Yeah, there's some huge names involved in this. And it runs all the way from the 31st of July through to the 9th of August. And yeah, come on, there's something massive. Like there's Capercaillie is in there. Another, oh, come on. There's Mick Lear, one of my favorite bands, is in there. Kill Kilt is another one we feature regularly on Rab Show. Catherine Tickle, who's a brilliant Northumbrian bagpiper. Love those. The Percival is there, another brilliant trad band. Carlos Nunez is there. I love a bit of Carlos. Yeah, I don't know. This entire lineup, all right, is all announced on the Festival Interceltique de Lorient Facebook page. They've been promoting it now for a few days. Also, shout out to Bagad Cap Caval. That'll be doing a special appearance at this, along with one of my favorites here locally, Manran. Come on. There's so many good bands playing at this from the trad and folk scene. Festival Interceltique de Lorient is absolutely on my bucket list. And I know a good number of the team have actually been. Shout out to Deej McIntosh, who's been plenty of times before. He's told us about his experiences. And now here we have Annabelle, who's also experienced the Breton scene. So, yeah, I don't know. Who knows? One of these days I'll jump on an airplane and start blowing pipes in France. That'll be good fun. So there you go. For full details on the full schedule lineup, it is available online now. Just stick it into Google and you'll find it. Festival Interceltique de Lorient. The full lineup is announced now. And yeah, plenty to enjoy there for sure. All right, folks. So from a busy weekend of piping and drumming all across the globe, thanks to St. Patrick's Day, I think it's time for me to draw a line under it there. Time for me to move on and finally tackle this week's topic of the week, which is, of course, the New Zealand Nationals. Woo! Seriously, I can't wait for Nationals. But before we get into the topic and all of that, there's one little thing I did want to mention. There are so many fake links and profiles and that on social media asking you to pay money to watch the live stream from the New Zealand Nationals. If anything, the RNZ PBA themselves have put it out on their social media to tell you not to click on the fake links and start providing credit card numbers. They will never ask for your credit card detail. If you find yourself looking for your wallet to get your card out to pay for a live stream for the New Zealand Nationals, you have clicked on a dodgy link and do not give them your details. The live stream for the New Zealand Nationals this weekend is absolutely free. It doesn't cost you a penny. If you do find yourself clicking on any fraudulent links, please be careful. Don't click on them is my advice, and just go to the official sources. All right? There you go. I just wanted to put that out there before we get into this week's topic. There you are. So, with that being said, I think it's time for me to go and get a big cup of tea. It's time for the topic of the week.
Kingdom Thistle Pipe Band Supplies for all your pipe band and marching band needs. Supplying everything from uniforms and instruments to custom designed bass drum heads. They offer it all. Not forgetting their exclusive Kingdom Ghillie Brogues and George Boots, crafted by bands for bands. Kingdom Thistle provides expert product advice and an industry-leading drum refurbishment service to keep your equipment in top-class condition. Also, shipping worldwide. So, stop by their store in Fife or visit them online at kingdomthistle.com for all your pipe band and marching needs.
Marchify, the brand new home of Flam 5 drumming. Check out their brand new Strike bagpipe case, inspired by their colourful, popular and reliable Flam 5 drum cases. The Strike bagpipe case combines durability, style and practicality, protecting every movement. Shop now at marchify.co.uk with worldwide shipping available. Marchify, every movement protected.
Hello, this is Fred Morrison, and you're listening to the Big Rab Show.
Okay, it's time for Topic of the Week. Now, to say that I'm a little bit excited for this weekend's New Zealand Nationals would be an absolute understatement. Oh, I can't wait for this weekend. Now, it seems to have been building up now for months. The New Zealand Nationals have been, I don't know, they are absolute kings at online advertising, I'll say that, right? Now, I'm absolutely gutted that I'm not going to be there, but that doesn't mean I'm going to miss the action, because for all of us living internationally, there's going to be a lot online that we can enjoy from this weekend's New Zealand National Championships. So, yeah, I had to catch up with two folks who know what they're talking about when it comes to the New Zealand Nationals. So, welcome to the podcast. No better people to talk about the New Zealand Nationals. Libby O'Brien and Liam Kernaghan. How are you folks? Are you well?
We're well. I mean, I can't talk for Liam, but he's always well. But yes, it's great to be here. Right?
Yeah, he's always well.
Very well. It's Nationals time. It's like Christmas for pipe band people, you know?
It is. Now, I've been seeing the headlines running up to this year's Nationals, and one of the big ones that I'm going to lead out the gate with, Liam, I believe we have 56 bands lined up for this one. It's going to be a big one, mate.
Yeah, we're really excited. So we had 57 last year in Invercargill, and we're going to a smaller town in New Zealand. For those who don't know the geography, we're heading to New Plymouth, which is on the west coast of the North Island. Smaller place. So to have 56 pipe bands from New Zealand, Australia and Canada this year is remarkable, and I think it speaks to the strength of our movement here at home, but also how popular pipe bands are across the world.
Are, yeah. Now, to be fair, I did put it into Google Maps to see where you were going, because I'm nosy like that. And it does look like quite a beautiful venue, you know? The people will be distracted now looking at the scenery.
Yeah, there's this beautiful big mountain, or maunga as we call it in Te Reo Māori here in New Zealand, Mount Taranaki. And on a great day when there's no clouds and the sun is shining, it's one of the most beautiful mountains in the country. So we're very excited for that. And the place we're going to has a fantastic view of it right round. So hopefully people will be focused on the fingers and looking at the pipe major and the drum sergeant rather than at the mountain right behind them.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So can I ask then, how has the season been going so far? We've been kind of keeping across a lot of the results and stuff, and there's been performances here and there that we've caught. But how have you found this season so far, Liam?
Yeah, so because I clearly have too much time on my hands, I've also decided to go back and play this year. So I've been right in the thick of it in terms of being back in the Canterbury Grade 1 band. And look, right from the start in November, where we had our first, I guess, kick-off contest in Hororata, which is and the South Island, we've had record entries right across the country. And I know the 3 Grade 1 bands here in New Zealand, Manawatu, Auckland and Canterbury, are working really hard. Manawatu obviously off the back of a trip to Scotland last year. New leadership with the Canterbury band with Piers Dover taking over from Jamie Hawke. It's been really exciting. And also one of the really cool things has been the emergence of some new juvenile pipe bands here in New Zealand. So we're getting a really good mix of experience at that top level, but also some of the, new young, fresh kids coming in and some of those great juvenile bands, which we're lucky to have again 11 juvenile bands in the contest at Inglewood. So very exciting. I think the season's gone really well.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. That's one of the things that I've noticed about this season is that there's a lot of young people involved in the scene. This year's season particularly, there seems to be more and more kids joining. Have you been finding that yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. And just to give you sort of a couple of examples. So for those in the solo piping world will be familiar with the name Stuart Easton from New Zealand, gold medalist at Oban in 2018. He's set up a juvenile band just based in Palmerston North, and they've been really strong this season and very, very impressive. Obviously, St Andrews College continues to impress, and I was in Christchurch on the weekend at the Canterbury Centre competition, and they were outstanding. They were sort of in a league of their own, really, in terms of what they were putting on the park. So it's been really exciting, and we're seeing that right across the country, whether it's in Auckland or in Hamilton, right through the North Island, right down to the very south in Invercargill, where they've got their 2 regular juvenile bands also doing a fantastic job. So, it's really exciting, putting my president's hat on, really exciting for the future of the movement. We're very lucky to have such good quality teaching programs right across the country, bringing fresh blood into the movement.
Oh, for sure. And I think the scene is definitely in a very healthy place. We're going to talk more about that. But I do want to get into the live stream element. And Libby, that's why you're here. Because you've been working incredibly hard on the live streams over the years. But will we have a live stream from this year's Nationals?
You've heard it here. Maybe not first, but definitely loud and clear. Yes, absolutely. It will be bigger and better than ever. And one thing that's probably worth celebrating, and we definitely will use it as an excuse for a bit of a party while we're doing it this year, is it's a decade. It's 10 years since we kicked off the first live stream of the New Zealand National Championships, which is a pretty cool achievement, I think. Small country down at the bottom of the world. And so, yes, there will be a live stream, 10 years. I can't even remember how many I've been involved in. I think Liam might have been on the microphone for the first 1 or 2, but it's an absolute privilege to be part of it and to be able to help bring our competition that does get bigger and bigger every year, to bring it not only to a New Zealand audience, but to that international audience that just seems to get bigger and bigger every time we put everybody out on the park. So very excited to be back.
Oh, brilliant. That's just absolutely made my day. Yeah, I'm so happy with that. Do you know, over the years, I've been tuned in at stupid o'clock in the morning, with so many cups of coffee. It's ridiculous. But I've enjoyed every moment of it. And what I'm finding that it isn't just me in the UK. Like, there's loads of others. But it's not just the UK. You mentioned the international part of it. There's people all around the globe tuning in to watch this live. Have you found that?
There really is, and we noticed that from the comments on the live stream that we keep an eye on as we're there doing it. And people, they put a little shout out from where they are. And Rab, it's always great to know that you let us know when you're signing off, when the coffee's kind of stopped kicking in. Yeah, that's a really cool thing. All of the audience that we have, that we're so pleased to have join us, they're doing those all-nighters, and that shows so much about the passion that they have for this art form. But yeah, countries that I've not even heard of, people are tuning in from. So I don't know if we've had, this would be interesting to find out, Liam, and Liam is our expert with this, but have we had viewers from all continents? If we've had viewers from Antarctica, that would be so cool. I almost want to go to Antarctica just to make sure that we can tick all the boxes. But if we, I reckon we've probably got every continent that's tuning in to watch our pipe band competition. It's very cool.
That's a good question. Liam, have you got the stats on that? Do you know?
I was just thinking, actually, that would be an amazing set to have. And don't worry, Libby, you can announce it live on the live stream on the weekend.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, so watch that one. I don't know if there is any piping in Antarctica. you'd be very brave to blow
Not
pipes
much
in
in
that.
Antarctica, no.
Might be a little bit hard to get the pipes going.
A little bit. Yeah,
Little
there you
bit.
go.
Yeah.
But see, on the day of a competition, now I know what it's like having to try and film a band with my phone. Just whip the phone out of my pocket and try and capture a band. But it's the live stream from its very bare bone beginnings to where it is now. It's a full production, isn't it? Like, a serious amount of work goes on behind the scenes in this, Libby.
It really is. And I think back to the first time I was involved a few years back, and it was kind of a couple of cameras, and we got a bit of direction, but we also, to be honest, were kind of winging a lot of it. I know that in front we were winging a lot, and that was really cool, to be given that opportunity to be able to do that and talk to people. And it's evolved, I guess, in terms of what we've done and the production values. They've evolved because the audience has been so supportive of what we're trying to do. Yeah. And Liam and the team have put a lot of work into the back end with Tim Kelly from Australia and his crew that actually makes sure that everything happens. We've gone from having a couple of handheld cameras to drones, to jibs, to just all this kit, desks. We've got media walls where we can interview people. It's super exciting. And now I think, little things like we're going to get earpieces and
oh, wow.
I know we get very excited about this technology, but it definitely helps us. And one thing that's also really neat is the graphics and paint. We paint the circle, and I don't know if we still do this, but we can sell that space because the audience is so we get sponsorship essentially to help make the live stream better, and we don't charge, obviously, which is very cool. It keeps it accessible for everybody, but it really has evolved. The other cool thing that has evolved is the team of people. So the presenters change, year to year, but the kind of core crew sitting in the background making everything happen is pretty consistent, and we've actually we've grown into a really good tight group of friends that catches up every year, and we get excited about that. So kudos to I'm really lucky. I often just show up at the Nationals and someone tells me what to do, and I kind of do it and try not to say naughty things or try not to push the envelope too much when I'm comparing men's moustaches and telling them they've got the best moustache on park. It's we're very lucky that we've had, and it all comes from that audience support from across the globe. So thanks everyone for tuning in.
Oh, it's brilliant. I can't wait to tune in this weekend, because you're quite right in saying so, Libby. It is just kind of like you're meeting your mates again, even though it is online. You're catching up with everyone again. So, I am very much looking forward to seeing you with earpieces in and going, oh, this just in, someone's lost their Glengarry.
That's what we'll do, I think. I mean, the dream in a way is that instead of just being on the live stream, we've got the whole park, because we have a ground announcer that announces everything. Maybe we just do everything. I mean, it's a hard enough job trying to keep on top of which band's playing and trying to get interviews in. But this year, I'm really excited to be supported by Max Middleton, who was part of the crew last year while I took a bit of a break. So really looking forward to working with Max and the team to bring some really, hopefully as much as we're just bringing the music, but bringing some really cool stories as well. Really looking forward to it.
Oh, I can't wait to hit, that live button. Brilliant. So, Liam, I want to talk about, the live stream and that from an association point of view. Obviously, this has been quite a lot of investment, a lot of effort over the years, and it has really paid dividends with kind of showcasing the scene in New Zealand. Do you find that's the case?
Yeah, and look, from our perspective, if we don't grow as a movement, we die off. And so we need to do everything we can to ensure we're not only just reaching the pipe band community that exists now, but actually reaching into parts of New Zealand and across the world that haven't heard pipe bands or don't know what it's about. So having the likes of Libby and Max this year and Phil in previous years and some others, including myself, kind of brings, I think, a realism to the public and helps explain what that looks like. And it's really special having such good communicators as Libby and Max taking pretty niche, complicated and sometimes complex musical issues and making it understandable to the public. So that's been really important. But we know that from the stats that we have from the last decade that we are reaching right across communities, not just the pipe band ones. So for over the last 10 years, I did as all good researchers do, they chuck things into ChatGPT and ask someone else to do it. But we've reached up to about 1.5 million individual viewers from the last decade in terms of our live streams and our individual videos. And, I think from my perspective, every dollar that we've invested in it, and it has been a significant amount, is totally worth it, because we're getting young people who haven't heard bagpipes and drums ever before getting excited. We've reached the parents and the grandparents of kids who see a fantastic opportunity for their kids to be part of a really safe, inclusive environment where they can do something pretty special. So we'll continue to invest in it. It sells not just our pipe band community to the world, but it sells our pipe band community to people at home who don't ordinarily see it or hear it. And that gets picked up by New Zealand media as well. So quite regularly after the championships, there'll be clips shared and pictures shared, and we regularly see it shared right across not just our band's Facebook pages, but community pages across New Zealand. So people are interacting and seeing it for months and months and months afterwards, which is really cool.
There you go. And I know a lot of bands that have contacted us after previous nationals, and they've told us that those YouTube videos and things that come out after are great recruitment tools for the band. They're able to share those out with prospective members and go, hey, this is what you can expect. This was us in the circle a few months ago, kind of thing.
Yeah. Exactly. And I know bands are really proud of sharing those as a way to promote themselves, but it's also a great recruitment tool, as you say. And one of the things, stay tuned, this year that we're going to be doing, given it's a decade on, is having a look back at some of the really cool moments from the last decade. So some of the great music moments, but also some of the really special moments we've had on the live stream as well. And Libby is obviously a feature of almost all of them. But it is a way of showing, I think, the friendlier, less serious side of pipe bands. As Libby said, we are all mates, particularly in New Zealand, given we're a small community. We do all get along. It's a great opportunity at the end of the season to catch up. And once you finish battle in the circle, you go to the beer tent and have a beer and spend some time with your mates. And so we want to showcase that as well, particularly this year, because that's just as important as the music that the bands put on the park.
Oh, it is. Absolutely, it is. The social side of it's so important. And Libby, you're kind of at the spearhead of catching that on the day. Catching someone on the hop between arenas and asking, well, how'd your day go? And sometimes they don't realize who they're talking to. And go, man, we played terrible today. Oh, hold on, it's Libby. Yes, we played great today. It's so fun. Do you work on those, catching people on the hop like that?
It's an interesting one, because I mentioned earlier we kind of wing it, and obviously there's you can't go and run that for 2 days without being somewhat prepared. I guess what goes through my head when you're out there kind of talking to people is we're really lucky where we know enough, kind of there's enough of a critical mass of people that we know who we know are going to be up for a chat. And we know that it's so great. People, like you said, people see the microphone and they actually kind of switch into this really professional mode, but they are happy to have fun. The real art is finding those people who maybe you don't know, or they might be they might be happy to say something, or they might have a kind of quirky something going on. But the neat thing is that you kind of know if someone just isn't keen to have a chat. They'll just kind of awkwardly run away and you just move on to the next person. But Kiwis, I think also, and I'd love your views on this, Rab, and maybe your listeners, is, Kiwis, we've got this weird accent and we're a bit kooky, and sometimes, I don't know, we're up to something a bit funny, is trying to capture that, because it's the essence of the New Zealand pipe band movement. It's the essence of Kiwis as people, I think we are a little bit kooky and a bit weird, and we're kind of proud of that. And that's what I always love, is just finding those people, asking them how their day was, or what's happening, or what's been the highlight of their weekend. But we've had these beautiful moments in the past few years where we've actually bumped into people who aren't pipe band people and saying to them, okay, you've never been to a pipe band competition before. What do you think? And they're just like, this is amazing. And they don't know about the music, and they don't know about if someone makes a mistake. They're kind of picking up on the vibe. And that's really special, because the vibe, we love it, right? We all love it, and the listeners and the viewers love it. But if we can have people who are brand new to this to share how good that vibe is, man, that tells us that we're doing something right. And much like what Liam was saying, it's sharing that this is a safe and wonderful environment for young people to grow up in and learn and make friends that are often for life. So yeah, it's cool to be. I love talking to people, Rab. I just love going up and shoving a microphone awkwardly in someone's face and then forcing them to talk to me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that again this weekend.
Oh, fantastic! Well, you have spoken to some characters over the years. Yeah, absolutely. But I think you're right in capturing that, and the realism of it. Yeah, God knows what it would be like if we ever tried to have a camera here in Northern Ireland. You think my accent's bad?
No.
God, see if you chat to some of the Egypts I run into in a competition. Dear goodness. Anyway, so I need to talk about the actual format of the contest itself. Now, this is something that's unique to New Zealand and, you guys in the Southern Hemisphere. We don't do it in the UK. And most of our events here are one day, right? But you guys there, it's like a 2-day thing. So can you explain how the competition breaks down, Liam, and how it all will happen this weekend?
Yeah, so as you say, we're over 2 days, Friday and Saturday, and we have right from juvenile and grade 4B through to grade 1. Everyone plays a march, chassé and reel, and a medley in grade 1 and grade 2. They draw the MSR on the line, so either set 1 or set 2. But then on the Saturday, every band from grade 4B to grade 1 also plays in the street march. So that's kind of, I think, a unique event. It's not part of the overall championship, but it's a mandatory event. So every band has to march down the street. They're judged on both music and their drill, and the drum major is also judged at that point in time. So that's another slightly different. It's a point of difference from the UK, where our drum major championship is judged on the street march. There's a separate mace flourishing competition, but the champion drum major for the New Zealand Championships is down the street. And then all of those are added together, and bands, are added up exactly the same as it would be music events. So we've got that special one. And we've obviously got our juvenile contest, which is slightly different. So juvenile bands in New Zealand aren't graded juvenile. Any band can enter a juvenile band as long as the players are under the age of 18. So we had that on the Saturday. And then it all culminates in the grade 1 competition late Saturday afternoon. So 2 days of fantastic music, some definite differences. And I know there's different perspectives on the street march. And I think Libby and I have talked about that on this show before as well. Some people love it. I know for the grade 1 and 2 bands, it can be, particularly with Invercargill last year, if we remember back, it was inclement weather would be putting it nicely. It obviously has an impact on the instruments, particularly given you're doing the street march and then a couple of hours later you're doing 2 music events. But I know from the public's perspective, it's one of the most exciting parts because they get to see the bands marching down the street, hopefully marching together in time and in lines and all together and playing some great music. So yeah, we're very excited about it. It's definitely got some unique parts to it, but the music's largely the same, and we're all striving, to try and achieve that perfect musical performance.
There you go. And I'm so glad you mentioned the street march competition. Honestly, for me, it's one of the highlights. I love it because there's so many tunes that you can play on the walk, but you just don't because, you learn your competition set and that's it, really. You might learn a 6/8 or 2 here and there for drum majors, and that'd be the height of it. So some of the marches that have been played over the years, even some of the compound time stuff, really entertaining, Yeah,
exactly. And it's an interesting observation you put in my previous, adjudicator hat on that. Often on the Friday when you've got grade 4B and grade 4A bands battling away a little bit, just trying to get those, particularly the dance rhythms kind of set. You hear them on the street on Saturday playing simple marches or even some compound time marches, and they're so much better because they're so much more competent and confident with those tunes. And so, there are definitely, I know for a lot of people internationally, it's a real highlight because you see something different. But also you get to hear some fantastic musical moments. I mean, Libby, I don't know if you remember back in the bad old, good old days. City of Invercargill used to do this amazing sort of movement. So normally you just kind of go round in a wheel. But Invercargill used to have this amazing thing where they'd almost get into revolving circles at the points where they turn around a corner, and magically they'd just appear back in formation down the street, and then the next corner they'd go into this revolving circle thing. I mean, there used to be some amazing things like that, and we haven't seen that for a while, but hopefully at some stage we'll see some band come back and do that, because it was a real highlight and treat for the public that were watching.
It really was. And it's, talking about the music as well, as March Stress Bay's reels are March Stress Bay reels, and then medleys, we know there's always something exciting that's going to be hidden in every band's medley. The street march is cool because you can see the bands that they're loving the music because they're feeling it as they're walking, and that's really special to be able to watch. Sometimes there's also dogs. The police pipe bands will have the dogs, and that's why we love seeing all the dogs at the Nationals. But you can always expect a couple of dogs from often I think the Auckland Police Pipe Band. But just some of those cool little things that bands sometimes pick up. There was a band a couple of years ago, maybe from Australia, I think it was, and they did something funky, or they had a choke in their performance. And just those little things just kind of make you stand up and go, "Ooh, we've heard 40 bands already, but this is something special."
Yeah, that's it. That's all the fun element. I love all that, And so I'm looking forward to this weekend to seeing what musical surprises the bands will have for us. Yeah. So, folks, I want to wish you the very best of luck for this weekend. I'm sure both of you will be incredibly busy. It's going to be a flat-out weekend. But we do hope to catch up with you post-Nationals to find the reaction then and how it all went. So the Portaloos are booked, all the chip vans and all ready to go. The beer tent stocked, all set to go this weekend then, Libby, yeah?
It sure is. And I know we'll probably have a few chips in the live stream tent. We'll keep the beers until the end. But yeah, really just looking forward to being a part of it yet again, and really keen to hear from listeners, your listeners, Rab, and people who are joining the live stream. Pop those comments in. We do keep an eye on them, and we're always really happy. If you spot something and you want us to go and have a chat to someone, let us know. We'll hunt them down and we'll have a yarn. But yeah, thanks everyone for your support. Thank you, Rab, for your ongoing support, and we look forward to seeing what happens this weekend.
Absolutely. Get those comments in, yeah. And Liam, excited for yourself, mate? I'm sure, as I say, a busy weekend ahead for you, yeah?
Oh, absolutely. And as I said at the start, it's like pipe band Christmas for us in New Zealand this week. For those Kiwi, Aussie and Canadian listeners that are coming across for the championship, best of luck. I'm very much looking forward to hearing some amazing music. But also importantly for your listeners, Rab, I think we've said it a few times, you've got to get yourself out here to one of these championships. So you've got to make sure that you're on the ground live. We're in Tauranga next year in 2027, and for the centenary year, it's looking like we'll be back in the home of New Zealand pipe bands, Christchurch. So for those planning a trip or thinking about a trip, you've now got 2 years' notice to get things sorted and get down to the most beautiful country in the world.
There you go. Do you know, I actually ran into Phil at this year's Worlds and snapped a selfie, chatted away, and all he could talk about was, do you know how much the flights are, Rab? And he started getting out his phone, and we're looking on Skyscanner, and we're practically booking flights standing in Glasgow. Yeah. He's on the money.
We'd love to have you and all your listeners out. It'll be fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. So, folks, go and tune in, watch the live stream. Drop Libby a comment, of course. And, we'll see you all on the other side of it. Liam, Libby, thank you so much for joining us this week. And, I can't wait for the Nationals.
Thank you, Rab. We're very excited.
Ka kite.
There you are. Fantastic. Shout out to Libby and to Liam for taking time to chat with me. So excited for this weekend. It's going to be an action-packed one. And no doubt we'll catch up with you on the other side of it, of course, as we unpack everything that happened at the National. Oh, man, I can't wait. So who's your money on? Any predictions coming in for the New Zealand Nationals? Oh, no, we haven't even talked about predictions on this week's show, but should we? Will our defending champions defend their championship? Oh, right. I'm not going to say any more. I'm just going to step away and do this. Oh, man, I can't wait. It's just going to be so much fun this weekend. So, yeah, shout out to everyone who is going to be competing at the Nationals. Have the very best crack. We are all incredibly jealous living internationally here that we're not going to be there. But, yeah, it's definitely on the bucket list. Absolutely. I would love to get to one. So, anyway, who knows what the future holds? Anyway, That's it for another Big Rab Show podcast this week. Thank you all for tuning in, as always. And don't forget to tell your mates about our wee show, about what we're doing over here, talking about what we know and loved, being the music of the Great Highland Bagpipe and its people. And yeah, we'll be back again next week with even more bagpipe and goodness. And no doubt we'll be wrapping everything up from the New Zealand Nationals. Man, I can't wait. It's just going to be so good. Right, I'm away. Thank you all for tuning in this week, and I will catch you all again next week. Until then, all the best.
Well, that's it for another Big Rab Show podcast. Thanks so much for downloading this week, and a special thank you to our sponsor, G1 Reeds. Played by bands around the world, they are the champion's choice. Check out g1reeds.com for all of your piping needs. Don't forget to check out thebigrabshow.com to be kept up to date with all of the latest news and views from around the piping world. And also check us out on Patreon. For $5 a month, you can get your hands on tons of extra piping goodness and be a part of the Patreon faithful. So, until next week, folks, we'll see you right here on the Big Rab Show podcast. All the best.